Well, you figured out the basic catfish skin? That's good, baby. Why don't you write a fucking song about it? No, I'm on there cruising for real pussy like the Hillside fucking Stranglers. Cruising for pussy. Who's that little girl? Who's that little 15-year-old Mila Bob looking thing on the side of the road? Daddy! Pull this car around. Go back around. Want to go back around? Yeah, I'm taking this one. Daddy! Right here. She got her book bag on. Oh, little high top chucks. Daddy! Baby! Get in the car. Runs across the street. That's my girl, dude. That's my little girl. The river. No, dude, I don't know what you consider ancient. 25 years ago? Is that so? If you're 25 years old, you're ancient? What is this, some new planet where you only live to be 30? Told you. You know how old I am. You don't need to talk about ancient. It's not ancient. Who gives a shit? It's about past technology. You can just about assume that it's older. Damn! My baby! That scary? You're my honey. Damn! This cat loves me. Daddy fucking loves you. Daddy fucking loves you. Who's my baby? Salem knows Victoria's Secret, but he's not telling anyone. Yeah, but it's always about the capitalist. Necessity is the mother of invention. Boy, this house is getting rocked by that wind. It's mighty cold out there. It's crisp. It's brisk. You could crack your neck around. Yeah, dude. Back in the day, didn't it sound really good? What do you come from? Where do you come from? Some rich suburb or something? We didn't have that. My dad bought us a computer for Christmas. It was 1995. It's got everything built in for lazy fucks like me and my family that don't care about technology. We just want to surf on the World Wide Web. You want to go? You want to surf on the World Wide Web? Is that what you want to do, baby? Let Daddy do it for you. Just like Eddie Murphy said about his mother making him a fucking cheeseburger. She said, I got that shit at home. Then eventually you learn to like that homemade cheeseburger much better when you get older. Mommy taught you how to cook corners. Me, I'd go to colleges. I'd ask around about broken computers, shit like that. I learned where the computer guys hung out, and I just hobnobbed with them till I learned how to piece together my own shit. I never owned a genuine operating system in my life. I still remember the serial to my Windows ME fucking bootleg operating system. HBT D9 6PP38. Can go on. How many times I installed it? I had to learn the disk operating system by fucking scratch. And I did. Then I learned how to, and then by this time, I built my own fucking computer. What was expensive back then was the processors. That's something you couldn't get around. So all my money would go to the processor, always. I remember, too, buying MSI motherboards or Athlon boards and blowing them up. They don't tell you about this. Blowing them up in the first hour I got them, most of the time because I didn't have lube for the heatsink. And do you know how hot they get? The processor? I had third-degree burns on my hand. One time I got electrocuted by the transformer to power up a desktop. But the one time that, see, you could have a state-of-the-art computer if you built it yourself. And the one time or the two times or the three times I succeeded in building one, it was fucking worth it. All I paid was $200 for a motherboard. And by this point, I had like 2 or 3 processors. I was the first to have Bluetooth back in 2000. Didn't even know what the fuck it was. I had all kinds of capabilities. But you do whatever it takes to, I remember, loading operating systems. I'd go to a party and I'd sneak down to someone's basement and I'd say, oh, Windows 3.1 on little 3-inch floppies. it's a 35 disc set. But it's about 35 megabytes, right? But 35 little discs. And then you get to like, please insert disc 19. And you put it in, and disc 19 wouldn't work. But you came so far in the setup of Windows 3.1 that it would allow you to continue, which is a cool feature. But it would fuck up your MS Paint or something. And your shit would crash because you're like, I didn't have disc 18. Then came the recordable CD. In 2000. Boy, I waited my whole fucking life for that. But just like the computer, see, you go to the store, you buy a computer, your CD would work, your floppy would work, your monitor would work. Back then, you had to write drivers. They call them virtual machines now. But you'd have to write the fucking driver and insert it in the auto exec or the config file when the computer first boots up. And all the time, it was never in English. But the first time I loaded my own CD recordable, that was a big deal at the time. I was like the first to get it. I got an iOmega CD burner. It cost like $275. But I had to write the driver for it. And stick it in, and hopefully when Windows boots up, it'll acknowledge it and drive it. But it did eventually. I wasted a lot of discs, blank discs, trying to record. And we had our own CD maker. And it would burn really good. It would do a Blue Book burn, which meant like it's not like the ones that you probably use where you write it once to disk and then it fucking doesn't work anymore. My shit burned what they call Blue Book standard. It burned all the way through the disk. And the thing like that too. I was the first guy. When DVDs first came out, nobody could figure out how to copy them. You had to buy a special program eventually. And it was just ridiculous. I'm one of the first guys that figured out how to copy your DVD. I could copy your DVD, but it would lose its indexing. It would lose its chapter files. It would lose all that shit and it would become one long AVI or MP4 or VOB. And then you'd sell them. You'd be like, you don't need all that software. Because when you're poor and you got to get shit done, you figure out how to do it. I grew up on cracked games. They've been cracking games since the dawn of games came out. And then they made like exterior like ciphers, codes and shit, so that it was it was like bootleg proof. I figured that out too. Then we put them online. We would do that with sound. Yeah. We used to have this Czechoslovakian guy, Fossey, that would do it for us if we couldn't. Or another group called Radium, back in the day. And people were like, back when there was no VST, it was only DirectX. I got a $500 reverb, DirectX, and it sounds like shit. But yeah, like we gotta add it to the studio. We'd pay nothing for it. It didn't sound that bad. I mean, you had to know how to use it. We would put it back, we would loop it back into our analog boards and shit, and by the time it came out, it sounded amazing. But you always had to know. That's the world I come from. I had the very best of shits, but it was always bootleg. Or handicapped or manipulated in some way. It's better to buy the shit outright because you get everything you should with it, but in a realistic world, no. Like I said, the very operating system I used was a bootleg. Microsoft used to call my house all the time because I was activating so many computers. I had my own business and I was putting bootleg operating systems on their shit. They don't like that. They don't like that shit. Or I was locating secret partitions on people's files. I would just alter operating systems like that. I got a FAT32 partition system on here. I'm like, no, you don't. There's all kinds of secret partitions here that You know what I mean? I forget what I used to use, like Caldera or Dr. DOS or something, and I can locate these partitions and alter them or take them out. You know. And it was better to have a bootleg operating system anyway. You didn't have all those fucking updates and those patches. And remember, you get an update and your shit would crash? I don't know. It wasn't that long ago, and it's like I could really give a fuck. But nowadays, it's like technology kind of, and especially this COVID shit, was the last hammer on the head, the last Maxwell Silver hammer on the head for shit like that. Because there's no media anymore. Cassettes, compact disc, give me disc. There ain't that shit anymore. Nobody cares. When you watch movies now, what do? You put on Netflix and you watch some third-rate production of something that really sucks, and it's like the standards have gone down. They don't put out many movies anymore. No real sports, and there's definitely no music. The radio station I listen to is 30 songs, maybe 20. It's just the state of the way it is. A lot of people complain about COVID being the... COVID definitely put a big fucking Boston Strangler hold on all the entertainment. All I want back is my internet. There's no reason in the world why I should be barred from porn sites or have my dick fucking bothered by some techno dickhead. Anyways, Bob, it's this guy. I don't give a fuck who it is. Get off my dick before I fucking give you helter skelter. I can't do anything about that. Well, what do you got nowadays that is comparable to what I had? What do you do that's so interesting? This guy gets jealous over every bit of life that I've lived. I wanted to live that life. Well, now you just sit in front of a computer and type shit and call yourself a hacker. Pretty... Difference between me and you is fucking light years. You can say that again. Yeah, it'll be a long time till you have to go to the extremes I go through daily to get something done. If I get an inkling of what you're doing and I find it interesting, you might as well pack it up. But I don't care enough, because there's nothing really out there that I want except for pornography. Not good enough for you? The police did it! Who gives a fuck? Just go away. Just be away from me. The police did that, stood in my way? Who gives a fuck? There's a little 14-year-old girl on the internet or outside my door, and we need the technology to get our fuck on. For me to put my fuck on it, I need the internet. That's why I'm going to get a new identity. I've already got it. I got mail that comes here for somebody else's Time Warner account or Spectrum account. I'm going to fucking sign on to that and pay off her difference and be like, that's anything it takes. Share internet with the fucking... I'll get it done. So you get all kinds of pissed because I want to do shit, but you're just getting pissed at yourself because you're the one imposing all these restrictions on me. So it's really of your own creation. If you don't like how if you tell me that your life sucks, well, I'm gonna go ahead and blame you for that. Because if your life sucks, you must suck. Don't bring it to me. This is ancient. Do what I want you to do. Nah, that ain't gonna work. That never works.